Mahjoob Zweiri, he's a professor of contemporary Middle East politics at Qatar University. Eid Mubarak to you, Mahjoob. Welcome to the programme. I want to just pick up on what my colleague Mohammed Al-Qasim said there. It's not been a good week for Prime Minister Netanyahu. So much has happened. What do you think his options are right now?
Thank you, Maria. There is a good saying in American politics called "all politics is local." To understand what happened in Israel, we have to remember that this is the outcome of Netanyahu discourse and the slogan in the last 2 decades to radicalize the Israeli society, and that's radicalization. We saw it. We saw some of the outcome on the first 2 days after the 7th of October, where they called the Palestinians human animals. So now there is a side of the Israeli society try to show that actually what's happening is not acceptable. But let's not forget that this is a very, 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 I would say, small amount of the population that they are rejecting what's happening. Because if you look at the majority of the Israelis, and look at the different public opinion, they still in favor of Netanyahu. They still favor of the right government. They still in favor of the operation against the civilian Palestinians in Gaza. No real condemnation within the Israeli society about the killing of the civilians. So far, there is no real even movements within the Israeli society. That tells you a lot about that. I call it the ongoing failure of these kind of demonstration, which last now for many, many, many weeks, but they have not reached to any kind of level of impact of the Israeli politics, simply because of the wave of radicalization that Israeli society was under in the last 2 decades.
It's so interesting what you said, because we've seen demonstrations even before Israel's war on Gaza started against Netanyahu's judicial reform.
Correct.
And you're saying that this is not making an impact. The majority of the Israeli public still favor and still support Netanyahu and his war on Gaza. But these demonstrations, though, what do they serve then? Because they've called it for a week of disruption. Is this just not going to get through at all?
I think those are voices. I think I'm not undermining what they are doing in terms of basically having another voice within Israeli politics. But let's not forget, where is the connection to the media in Israel? How much these demonstrations have in arms within the media? How much the media inside Israel actually is covering those or actually shedding more lights on what they are doing? Because if they are doing so, there will be serious impact, because these demonstrations seem isolated events within the Israeli politics. If they become under the sun, if they become more debated within the Israeli politics, I would expect to have impact on Israeli politics. But until now, they have been presented as a side development within the Israeli politics. And this takes me to the important point, Maria, which is how much actually what happened inside Israel is influencing the war in Gaza. How much this actually making the operation less aggression against the civilians. Nothing actually. All of the Israelis, whether they are left or right, they are agreeing on killing more Palestinians. There is no voice within Israeli politics say, look, we have to stop it. We have to do this. We have to do it differently. Even Gantz, when he was, within the war cabinet, he was actually more radical comparing with Netanyahu. I think the voice from Israel now is more radicalization voice.
Just update us on how you see internal Israeli politics right now, Netanyahu versus the military, and also their relationship, or Netanyahu's relationship with the US administration.
These are important developments because the statement made by Netanyahu that, the army should follow the state rather than the state follow the army, these are a reflection of a crisis within Israeli politics. This never happened, as far as I know, someone who following closely what's happening there. This is a reflection of a crisis. This is a reflection of authoritarian style of politics in Israel. I call it, this is a one-man show. He wants to use all state resources to achieve his own personal goal. I think because of the nature of the system, this may not lead to a real confrontation, but this will weaken the whole institutions. Let's not forget, Maria, that the army in Israel is an important institution to unify the Israelis. Now, this has been undermined since 7th of October in the eyes of the Israelis, and now because the politician is being undermined. Now, what has left to the Americans? The Americans still recognize the role of army because they are believing of the institutions. But I'm not sure they are able to do anything now with what Netanyahu is doing, simply because they have their own division within the American politics, where the Congress is insisting that Netanyahu will come and deliver a speech in the Congress, where the White House does not like it. So there is another reflection of division within the American politics because of what's happening inside Israel.
Mahjoob, fantastic to get your analysis as always. Mahjoob Zweiri, thank you so much. And once again, happy Eid to you.